coming back with another video. Look like the Indiana Fever front office has a tough hand to deal with this offseason. New information has been revealed about free agency guys. For this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy.
The Indiana Fever just got thrown into the wildest offseason mess the WNBA has ever seen. While everyone's busy hyping up Caitlin Clark's record-breaking season, the front office is staring down a do-or-die situation that could either build a dynasty or destroy everything they've worked for. The clock is ticking, and behind the scenes, it's chaos. Most fans have no clue how deep this goes. The Fever's roster isn't just complicated, it's hanging by a thread. They were inches from the WNBA finals. Then boom, everything fell apart. Now they're stuck in a nightmare mix of injured stars, contracts running out, and a CBA freeze that's got the entire league on pause. But the real danger? It's not who they're trying to sign, it's who they might lose.
It wasn't that they lacked teamwork, but Clark was naturally the primary indicator and playmaker. After she went down, things shifted. Mitchell, Ari McDonald, Sydney Colson, and even Sophie all took turns to shoulder the responsibility and pretty much be the bench to kind of keep everything.
Think about this. 3 straight years of major roster shakeups? That's insane. Real championship teams don't rebuild every season, but ever since drafting Clark, the Fever have been stuck in crisis mode, scrambling to fix what never should have broken. And now they're gambling everything on one massive decision: keeping Kelsey Mitchell. You're probably thinking, why is that even up for debate? She's their number 2 weapon, right? Exactly. That's the trap. When Caitlin went down with that brutal injury in July, something shocking happened. The offense didn't crash, it changed. Mitchell, Arik McDonald, and Sydney Cooks all started balling out. The team realized they could actually survive without Clark running the whole show. And that revelation flipped everything upside down. Suddenly, the front office looked stunned, like deer in headlights.
Lot to deal with this offseason, but more importantly, they got a lot of revamping to do, man. Nearly making it to the WNBA finals, finishing pretty much at the semifinals, losing superstar player Caitlin Clark. Answers are going to be had in regards to this offense, man. Kelsey.
They thought it was simple. Build around Caitlin, stack shooters, chase a finals run. But reality smacked them hard. Mitchell struggled at point. Injuries piled up. And that perfect plan? It just exploded in their faces. And here's the part that should straight up scare Fever fans. Reports are flying that those injuries weren't just bad luck. They were the consequence of Stephanie White's intense, pedal-to-the-floor coaching style. Fast pace, high minutes, zero rest for her stars. It looked brilliant until players started falling one by one. Now the front office is facing an impossible question. Do they rebuild the whole system around keeping Caitlin Clark healthy, or gamble that last season was just a freak accident? Watch closely, because this is where the story flips. The league started pushing a new narrative, crediting the Fever's grit and hustle, boosted by Kelsey Mitchell's scoring and Aaliyah Boston's dominance.
Keeping all this in mind, the Indiana Fever front office need to balance their roster as it comes for the 2026 season. Sure, their priority should be to sign nobody else other than Kelsey Mitchell, but it goes on to say, how can the Indiana Fever improve its roster?
But notice what's missing. Caitlin Clark's name. That's no coincidence. Once she got hurt, the media jumped on a storyline that made it look like Indiana thrived without her, like their success came from team depth, not superstardom. And that twist? It's dangerous, because if Kelsey Mitchell believes she proves she can lead without Clark, what's stopping her from chasing a max contract or walking into free agency to join a squad that'll make her the main attraction? The Fever built everything around Caitlin, but now they might have created a monster.
There. But thanks to the Fever willpower, matched with Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston's brilliance and Stephanie White coaching, the team kept fighting. But after a heartbreaking exit, attention has already shifted to what's next. With the CBA negotiation casting,
because their second best player might not want to play second fiddle anymore. So here we are, 2 major offseason decisions that could define the entire future of the franchise, and maybe even the league itself. First, Kelsey Mitchell's contract situation. She's about to hit unrestricted free agency after showing the world she's more than a spot-up shooter. She's a proven shot creator, and the market knows it. Second, rebuilding the depth after the injury disaster that wiped out half the rotation. But the third decision? That's the bomb nobody's talking about. Do they keep Stephanie White's high-risk system or force a total coaching shift to protect their $28 million superstar investment in Caitlin Clark?
Injury, the Indiana Fever, otherwise known for their flashy and fast-paced style, had to make some adjustments. It wasn't a complete overhaul. To me, I think it was an overhaul, bro. They lost pretty much their whole damn.
Whatever they choose, it's going to shake the entire WNBA because you can't have it both ways. You can't run a high-octane, full-throttle system for 40 straight games and expect your star player to come out untouched. It just doesn't work. Something's got to give, and for Indiana, it already did. Now listen to this contradiction. It's wild. It wasn't a complete overhaul. Then immediately, I think it was an overhaul, bro. He literally catches himself mid-sentence because the official story doesn't match the truth. The Fever want fans to believe everything was just a strategic adjustment, but that's pure PR talk. What really happened? Full-blown panic mode. Caitlin Clark, gone. Their offensive engine ripped right out. Arik McDonald, their defensive fire starter, torn ACL.
Use this time to set its targets for the next season. Yes, there are a lot of uncertainty. God. But their next priority should be to stock up guards. CC is coming back. But I feel like Ari McDonald is definitely going to be somebody they're going to have to get signed. Pretty sure her stock went up. But the type of injury she had, we don't know if she's going to come back.
The carefully built rotation they'd fine-tuned for months shattered overnight. And that's what's keeping the front office up at night. They don't even know which version of this team is real. Is the true Fever the squad that nearly reached the finals when Clark was healthy? Or the one that completely unraveled once the system got stress-tested? The answer decides their future. Now here's where it gets messy. People keep saying the whole offense ran through Caitlin, but even insiders are pushing back. One even said, that's kinda not true, man, because the Fever didn't actually build a pure Caitlin Clark offense, they built something halfway. She was a facilitator, not the centerpiece. They used her to spark plays, but rarely let her take over the scoring the way she did at Iowa. And that's the wild part. When she went down, the team found out they could still ball. The offense stayed fluid, the passes sharp, and multiple players took on creation roles. They didn't fall apart. They adapted. But that discovery created a massive dilemma. If your system runs smoothly without your superstar, do you break the bank to keep every piece together, or do you bet everything on Caitlin's return, turning them into a juggernaut? Either way, someone's losing sleep in Indiana tonight. Mitchell, Arik McDonald, Sydney Colson, and even Sophie Cunningham, every single one of them stepped up and took turns carrying the load when the storm hit. But notice that phrase, took turns. That's not an offensive system. That's survival mode. And here's the wild part. Those survival performances didn't just save the Fever's season. They twisted the front office into psychological quicksand because every player who stepped up just made themselves way more expensive. Arik McDonald proved she could run a team as a true starting point guard before her knee gave out. Sydney Colson showed she's more than comic relief. She's a leader who can control tempo and energy. And Kelsey Mitchell? She didn't just keep them alive, she looked like a flat-out franchise player. Every one of those breakout moments inflated their market value. And now the Fever's front office is trapped between loyalty and logic. Here's the painful truth. The depth that rescued Indiana might end up wrecking their finances. They can't afford to lose anyone, but they also can't afford to keep them all. It's like they built a house of gold they can't pay the mortgage on.
And let's listen to what Lisa Leslie said about Kathy.
And the trophy, and it's Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner. And when she announces her, she is handedly, loudly booed. And for those in the arena, they said they couldn't even hear her.
Wow.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert.
Thank you, Holly. Well, we're here today to celebrate a champion. Thank you to all the fans. Phoenix had a great run to get here. And I just want to congratulate the Aces on a performance. 2025 WNBA champion.
For me, it's the players' faces. Like recognizing what's going on.
She did well, though. She kept her cool. She finished what she had to say, and she was strong in that moment because that was serious and that was loud. I don't even think I realized it was that loud. I do feel bad for Kathy because nobody wants to experience.
Heading into 2026, the Fever front office has one mission: balance the roster without breaking the bank. And that starts with one name in all caps: Kelsey Mitchell. No side deals, no distractions, sign her or risk everything. This is the breaking point. If they give Mitchell the max, they're officially locking into the two-star model. Clark and Mitchell running the show, everyone else falling in line as supporting cast. But if they let her walk, that's a whole different gamble. Then you're betting that Caitlin Clark alone can lift a team of role players to a championship. And that's a dangerous dream to chase. There's no middle ground here, no wait-and-see approach. And the clock's ticking fast. The CBA freeze might have the league on hold right now, but the second that agreement drops, every team with cap space will come knocking for Kelsey Mitchell. The Fever will have to decide before they even know next year's salary cap. Are they ready to pay whatever it takes to keep her? Even the front office sounds shaken. There's a lot of uncertainty, one insider admitted.
Not being a well-liked commissioner of any league. The other flip side to it was in response to the fans really supporting the players. It's kind of cool because we know that the fans are listening and they're paying attention and they see that these Raptors are full all the way to the top, that they're sellouts, and they want for the players to reap the benefits also. So you think about the CBA and you think about, I think one of the most important things is profit sharing. I think that's going to be important because fans want to know that these players are being paid also and that they're sharing in the success of all of the hard work that everybody did. You know, nobody wants negative stuff, whether it's in real.
And he's right, because after that, their next big move is to rebuild the backcourt. Clark's returning, sure, but Arik McDonald? She's a must-sign. You lose her, and suddenly your foundation starts to crack again. Now we're watching the dominoes fall one by one, and it's getting ugly. It's not just about Mitchell anymore, it's Arik McDonald too, whose stock exploded right before that brutal ACL tear. Now everyone's asking the same question. Can she come back the same player, or did that injury change everything? The Fever suddenly need to do the impossible. Sign multiple guards, rebuild frontcourt depth, fix their bench scoring, and somehow improve defensive versatility. All in a ridiculously short window once the CBA finally drops. Meanwhile, other teams are already plotting their next moves, mapping out free agency, scouting trades, planning draft targets. The Fever, they're frozen, completely paralyzed, trying to make everyone happy while knowing deep down it's mathematically impossible. They can't keep all their stars, and the second they lose one, the whole structure wobbles. And just when things couldn't get any crazier, the spotlight on Caitlin Clark got even brighter. She was just named to the AP's all-time starting five in women's college basketball, right beside legends like Cheryl Miller, Candace Parker, Breanna Stewart, and Diana Taurasi. That's not just an accolade, it's a pressure bomb. Because now the expectation isn't just build a good team around Clark, it's build a dynasty around one of the five greatest college players of all time. But here's the psychological trap. The Fever just walked straight into it. Caitlin's college legacy is untouchable. She shattered every record, claimed the all-time scoring crown, and carved her face onto the Mount Rushmore of women's hoops.
Looking like deer in the headlights as they make a decision to keep superstar player Kelsey Mitchell and try to land more. Articles has been released, kind of breaking this whole thing down, dog. That's what we finna go over right now. Let's pull it up.
But her WNBA story, that's still being written. And if Indiana fumbles this offseason, if they lose Mitchell or fail to rebuild their depth, Caitlin's professional career could become the ultimate what-if tragedy in sports. And now comes the part nobody wants to touch, the commissioner problem. Kathy Engelbert got booed out of her own championship ceremony. Fans were so loud, people in the arena couldn't even hear her speak. Lisa Leslie tried to play defense, saying it was just fans supporting the players. Please, let's be real. It was a total meltdown of trust between the league office and its fan base. That moment exposed everything wrong at the top. Fans don't believe the leadership anymore. And now, while the Fever fight to save their roster, the league itself is fighting to save its reputation. And here's where it all connects. The Fever's offseason chaos is being strangled by the same commissioner fans are revolting against. The CBA negotiations that have frozen every roster move in the league? They're being led by Kathy Engelbert herself, the same person who just got booed off the stage at the championship ceremony. That tension isn't just bad optics, it's affecting real decisions. Now listen closely to Lisa Leslie's choice of words. I think one of the most important things is profit sharing. Translation? The players are done settling. They want a massive cut of the revenue this time, and the owners are gearing up for war. That means these CBA talks could drag on for months, locking every front office in limbo. For Indiana, that's a nightmare scenario. Their entire offseason plan, re-signing Mitchell, bringing back McDonald, rebuilding depth, could get squeezed into just a few frantic weeks, maybe even days, once the deal is finally done. Imagine trying to rebuild your roster while half the league is throwing cash at the same players. It's chaos waiting to happen. And here's the twist that'll sting. The CBA will eventually get signed. It has to. Neither the league nor the players can risk a full-blown work stoppage. But when that happens, don't expect smooth sailing. The salary cap will likely jump higher than anyone predicted, all because of the Caitlin Clark effect boosting TV ratings, ticket sales, and sponsorship money. Sounds great for Indiana, right? Wrong. That's the trap. A higher cap means every team suddenly has money to burn. So while the Fever are still debating how much to pay Mitchell, other franchises will be ready to drop the bag instantly. Kelsey Mitchell's about to have the whole league calling her phone. She won't just get offers from Indiana. She'll get max deals thrown at her from Dallas, New York, Los Angeles. Every franchise desperate for a reliable scorer who can light it up on any given night. The Fever's only real advantage isn't money, it's chemistry, loyalty, and the promise of building something legendary beside Caitlin Clark. But is that enough to keep her? This is the moment of truth for Indiana's front office. Can they turn their toughest offseason into the smartest rebuild in team history? Because if they hesitate, if they try to play it safe, they won't just lose Kelsey Mitchell. They'll lose their shot at maximizing Caitlin Clark's prime years, and that mistake could haunt the franchise for a decade. So what do you think? Should the Fever go all in and lock up Kelsey Mitchell no matter the cost? Or should they roll the dice and bet on Caitlin Clark to elevate whoever comes next? Drop your thoughts below. Hit like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the drama shaping the WNBA. See you on the next one.